All right, Rocker Nation, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the show, man. It is Wednesday, February 18, 2015. On today's episode, got another good one lined up for you. This time, talking about something that you've heard about for probably quite some time. I'm sure at one point in your life you've heard about Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, the place that you get to go to, you get to hang out for about a few days, and you get to jam with an actual rock star. You learn songs, you play your instrument, you play a show at the end of the week. So we've all heard of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, but I wanted to dig a little bit deeper. I wanted to know exactly why Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp started to begin with, and what exactly takes place over the course of the week. I mean, I know everyone knows the obvious, but what is it about it specifically that happens over the course of the week that makes people want to keep going back? So I reached out to the founder of the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, one David Fishof, and he was kind enough to grant me an interview, and we talked about the origins of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, what happens during the week, what you can expect to see from Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp over the course of this year, and by watching this interview, you get a chance to get a discount. If you go to the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, you'll see why as you watch this conversation. So check it out. The founder, the creator of the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, one David Fishof. David, good to meet you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for taking part.
What goes on at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp? You got to come. It's unbelievable.
Like a true salesman. I'll be honest with you. Like for years, I've heard about Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and I feel like many people have known what Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp is. I believe, wasn't it even talked about on an episode of The Simpsons?
The Simpsons, Bones, Pawn Stars this past year, Saturday Night Live. Yeah, no, we haven't been short of getting great publicity.
Right, so you've got a really large footprint when it comes to the publicity factor. But for people that may know of the name Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, but then they don't exactly know what takes place during that time, just give me the quick origin story, man. Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. How did you get this thing started?
Well, an idea I came out with when I was touring with Ringo with the All-Star Band. I put together this tour with Ringo, and I was traveling with these great musicians. And after about 4 days, people told me that this never could work because to put all these rock stars on one tour and with all the egos, the thing won't happen. And I think what happened was that from that moment on, I said, this is a great camaraderie. All these people in one tour, this is fantasy camp. And I kept saying that to myself. And that's when I came up with the idea to create Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. Did the camp in 96. 96 was 18 years ago. I did my first camp. I did it down in Florida. I picked up the phone. I called Nils, I called Luke Graham, I called Clarence, I called Mark Farner, all these guys that I knew from my previous tours and who I met with Ringo. And I said, I have this idea to do a tour. And they all said, let's try it. And they came to Florida. We had about 20 campers, and we had 50 media people. And it got great publicity, but, I lost a lot of money, so I decided not to do it again. But every day my phone would ring and emails would come in, and when are you doing Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp? When are you doing Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp? So in the year 2000, I decided, let me start it again. I'll do one. And I picked up the phone. I called Brett Michaels, and I said to him, Brett, would you be interested in doing it? He said, yeah, I'll try it. And George Thorogood. And I started just calling people that I had met over the years, and they were so nice. And, naturally I got turned down by a bunch of people, but the ones that said they'll give it a shot, and we did it, and we did very well. And then I did it again, and then I started doing more camps, and then eventually I went off the road. I got married. I got 2 new children, and as opposed to my 3 older children and my grandchildren, I decided, I need to put my full life into doing Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. I love changing people's lives. I love giving them the opportunity to jam with these rock stars, and basically the life-changing experience that comes out from the camper who attends is equal to the rock star that goes. So the rock star comes out of it and he says, "Wow, I got to jam with these people." It's all about music, So it's tremendous. I mean, and not because I'm there all the time, but the accomplishment that you see that these people get out of it, both sides, it's just unbelievable.
Basically, the overall idea of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, I mean, it takes place over the course of, a week?
So there's different variations. I've done it for 1 day, I've done it for 2 days, I've done it for 4 days. Lately, it's been 4 days. You come in, I put you together with a Rockstar counselor, that you've never met. 6 people come together in a band, 5 people. They meet Lita Ford, they meet Gary Hoey, they meet Rudy Sarzo, Vinny Appice, and they get to put in a band. And these rockers put the band together. They write an original song with you. They get you to perform 2 nights, 2 sets, 2 short sets. Different people have different abilities. If you're an advanced, you're going to go in one type of band. If you're a beginner and you haven't picked up an instrument before and you just want to be in a band, you're going to go in another group. And what's amazing about the rockers is that certain ones, tell me, I want an advanced band, David, because, like Alan White from Yes, he loves an advanced band because, the Yes music is tough and that's what he likes. But many of these rockers tell me, give me the musicians who are just beginning. I want to give them the passion of music and teach them, and then you'll see what I'll do with them. And it's unbelievable how talented these rock stars are and what they're able to take a beginning band.
Who's mostly the participants in Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp? On average, who's usually the person that's signing up?
So naturally, it's the person 40 to 50 that can afford it. His wife usually buys it for him for his birthday. But the last camp, I had a 10-year-old bass player. I had a 7-year-old guitar player. I had a woman who, an airline. She was an airline pilot. I love it that all these people can come together and about making music, and it really doesn't have to, and that's really what it's about. It's the love of making music. So if you get once in a while we get a youngster, we put him in a youngster band. This young man was just so mature, and he really had great chops on him, and he fit right in. But mainly it's 40 to 50-year-old men, depending on the guest star. Tommy Lee, he brought in half women. Sammy Hagar, he'll bring in a lot of women also. So it really depends.
And I noticed that Sammy Hagar is coming up on a future camp. I know that Joe Perry from Aerosmith was on a recent camp. I've been looking up some of the stuff you got coming up. What do you have coming up? How often do these camps actually take place?
So, they take up place as often as I can get the talent to commit. A lot lately. I've been doing a lot in the winter because the rockers are off from work, and so Joe Perry was off from touring, and he's amazing. I mean, here's a guy who I think is one of the coolest guys in rock and roll, and I'm a huge fan. And he came to camp and he jammed with every band. They prepared an Aerosmith song for him, but better than all that, and that was an incredible experience. But he sat down with these campers and with these people for an hour. And he gave his heart. And I tell you, I walked out of there and I was like, wow, it's amazing the amount of knowledge that they have and the way he made people feel. I mean, here you have people who come together, they think they're guitar players, and they don't consider themselves guitar players because they only play on a weekend, or they play once a month, or they play. And he turned to them all and said, listen, if you play guitar, you're a guitarist. You're no different than me. And I know, and it's a matter of practicing your instrument. So that was amazing. We have songwriting camps, so you have to play. You can't play an instrument. We have vocalist camps. We include in all our camps. So it's really open to any music enthusiast, and we'll put you in the right group with the right people. And that's what I love about our camps. Sammy Hagar is coming up, and he's doing a camp with great Pat Travers. That'll be we have 2 weeks. After that, I got Cheap Trick. They're coming, and they're going to be with Blue Oyster Cult. So that should be a super camp. We're about to announce a metal camp with Michael Schenker. I got Bill Ward, the great godfather of metal drumming. It's just so many different rockers coming in and out, and we love it. We love hosting people.
How often are rockers reaching out to you, expressing interest to be a camp counselor or to be somebody that takes part in the camp? Like, I mean, is it more you reaching out to them, or are you finding that not just the classic rock artists, but like, are there any like newer rock artists that you want to reach out to?
So I always look for new talent, and I'm getting people reach out to me all the time. I reach out to them. It has to be the right fit, the scheduling. It has to be someone that understands what it's like and to have patience to deal with people. I think why the rockers like it is not their normal meet and greet where they're taking a picture. It's really about people who are into music, who really want to talk music, who want to talk gear, or beginners who really want to, learn to play the songs the right way. So it's a combination of both. And I got a couple, new names coming in. The problem is that you start getting someone who's had a hit a year ago. His fan base, can't afford to go away for 4 days. Doesn't have the time in the schedule.
Right.
But we're working currently. We're producing a 1-day touring camp that I'm in the midst of working on.
Cool, man. And then I also read on your website that you're hoping to launch a camp in Canada and have Gene Simmons from Kiss at that one.
Yeah, that's coming up in May. Gene's doing that'll be Gene's third camp. I think Gene is boy, he's amazing. He comes to camp. He spends hours with each band, showing them how to write songs. And I said to Gene, I mean, you're such a successful person. Why do you like my camp? And he basically said, David, it reminds me what it was like when I first started. I wish I would have had this, where I had a place to go and learn, and I love to give back the knowledge. And I'll tell you, he's just a genius. Here's a guy who, he makes himself out to be the money guy. And it's no question, he's built that brand up. But his musical knowledge and the hits that he's written, and, he's had Simmons record labels, and he's discovered, he found Van Halen. So he doesn't promote that about himself. But when you get him in our camp environment, I learned a lot. He's one of my favorites.
Now, for someone to sign up for Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, what is the average cost for a 4-day trip?
Camps now, they start at $3,500. They go up to $6,000, depending on who the artist is, depending on the location. You have this upcoming metal camp. You can come in for $3,000, $3,500. Go to rockcamp.com. You call our offices, Beth, at 888-762-2263. It's 4 days. I guarantee you that after 4 days, after 1 day, people say they got their money's worth. I mean, this is a bucket list. This is something you're never, ever going to get an opportunity to do again in your life. And I will say 50% of our campers return. It motivates them to get into music. And it motivates them to make music a full-time, not really a full-time, but a passion. And a lot of our campers are people that were in bands when they were 20 years old and 21, and they had a decision to make. Am I going to be a musician or have to get a full-time job? And they have to get a full-time job. And I got to tell you, they live with that passion every day. What if? And we've been able to give them the answer, what if?
Nice, man. Well, listen, David, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us about Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. Again, guys, if you want to check out the website, maybe sign up for a camp in the future, you can go to rockcamp.com. All the information is there. We've been speaking with David Fishof, the founder and creator of the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. David, thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Absolutely. Go to our website. It's rockcamp.com. And if they mention that they saw me on this show, and they say, tell Beth that we saw you on this show, then we'll give them $250 off.
Nice. There you go, guys. So not only do you get to watch a pretty cool interview with the founder of Rock Camp, but you're also going to get a discount for checking out this interview. Go ahead and sign up. What do you got to lose? Enjoy. David, thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Appreciate you having me on.
And that is it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, man. I really do appreciate it. And as always, let's continue to grow the show. Like and favorite the videos, subscribe to the channel, like and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Visit us at consequenceofsound.net. All those links down below in the description box. And tomorrow, guys, you're going to get a brand new installment of Treehouse Sessions featuring the really, really wonderful and really pretty sounds of the band Wise Blood. And on Friday, you're getting a brand new episode of the Rock It Out blog. So until then, guys, horns up. You know what to do. Rock it out. Ugh. So does it look swollen? Can you tell that it's swollen, my jaw? It just feels like there's like a little like bouncy ball just sitting right here. And I can't get rid of it. I need more Vicodin.